Hi, I'm Jilly G. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you good old-fashioned green bean casserole. Gluten-free, of course. And traditional green bean casserole uses cream of mushroom soup, which I make my own, gluten-free. You can buy it nowadays, but I don't really like all of the extra added things in there, and sometimes the flavor's not exactly what you want it to be. So I make my own. And I put it in these jars and then I stick them in the freezer for this recipe and other recipes that use this. I'll put a link to that video below. And I've got my green beans here and we'll just cut these up in a minute. But first up, I'm gonna make my own little crispy fried onions to go on top of my casserole. I don't know if you can buy these gluten-free or not. I've not really ever looked for them. I just make my own. And I have one smallish onion here. And in this bowl, I have a 1/4 cup of cornstarch and a 1/4 cup of my gluten-free flour. And it's mixed together. And then I have a casserole pan here that is greased with butter. And my other things over here. My oven is preheated to 350. So first up, I'm going to cut up this onion. And it's a little one. But you could do as big of a one as you want. And I'm just going to cut it in half and then just cut it into slices. And then once you've got them in slices, I kind of break them up into little pieces here so we can toss into our flour and cornstarch mixture. And once you've got your onion all separated here, I'm just going to toss it into my flour and cornstarch mixture and then spread it out here on this cookie sheet with parchment paper. Shake off any excess. You'll notice you'll get a lot of this on your cookie sheet, and that's fine. Once you've got all of your onion pieces out of your flour and cornstarch mixture, I'm just going to spread these out a little bit. Let them kind of dry out a little bit. Not that they're wet, but you can see they don't really need an egg wash or to be dipped in egg first before we do this. They hold on to this coating really well. So I'm going to clean up and then I'll show you the rest. So I'm going to cut up my green beans. I've already trimmed off the ends and I've washed them, but they're in pretty big pieces here. I just want to cut them into bite-sized pieces. And it's okay if they're not perfect, but you want them to be mostly uniform or mostly the same size. And I don't know about you, but whenever I'm doing holiday dinners or even just a big fancy dinner, I always try to do whatever I can ahead of time that can be done ahead of time. For example, something like this, you could make your fried onions a few days before, and you could even do all of this and even assemble it without putting the onions on top, and then it's ready to go in the fridge to just be put in the oven when you're ready to cook it and then serve it. And you don't even have to use fresh green beans. You could use canned green beans, or you could even use frozen green beans. And if you're using canned or frozen, then you'll skip the steps that I'm going to show you next. But I like the fresh green beans. Make sure they don't fall off your cutting board. And I just have a 4-cup measure here. I'm aiming for 4 cups. If I have a little bit more, a little bit less, I'm fine with that. But you want about 4 cups or so of cut up green beans. Just over 4 cups. So bring that over here. And I'm going to turn on my frying pan here, to about medium high. I have some bacon grease in there heating up. You could use butter or olive oil, whatever you want. But I'm going to cook these first with a little bit of salt and pepper just to get them cooked so they don't have to spend so much time in the oven. If you were using frozen or canned green beans, you would skip this step, but because these are fresh, they need to be cooked. And I also have my olive oil heating up over here to fry my onions. I'm going to bring these closer. And then I'll bring you in and show you how to cook it. To my frying pan, I'm going to add a little bit of butter to go with my bacon grease. And once that's almost all the way melted, add in your green beans. And I just kind of give them a stir to get coated in that butter and bacon grease. And I've got salt and pepper, however much you want. And stir this again. I'm just gonna let these cook till they're mostly done. And while those are cooking, I might even add a little bit of water just to help them steam a little bit. But while these are cooking over medium heat, my olive oil is ready to start frying the onions. And I'm just dropping them in one at a time. And just stir them around a little bit. You want them brown, but not black. You can see they really don't take long at all. So my onions look really good. And you can see how fast and easy that was just to make your own. If you like a crunchier breading on these, you could use breadcrumbs or cracker crumbs or other kind of crumbs. Set those aside. And you don't want to add this to the top of your green bean casserole until you're ready to put it in the oven. Those will get soggy. And I added, about half a cup of water to my pan of green beans. They're just about ready. And when they're finished, I'll show you how we put it all together. And you can see most of the liquid is gone. And that's what you want. A little bit in the pan is okay. And now I'm gonna add in my cream of mushroom soup. And I know it looks a little bit chunky. This is what it looks like after having been frozen, but it will all come together when it heats up a little bit. And just stir this around till it's all combined. I know it looked like it wasn't going to come together, but it does. So bring over your casserole dish. And I buttered it. You don't really have to, but I do. And then we're just going to pour this in. Switch back to your spatula so you can get all of the soup out of the pan. And then I just kind of spread it out. And if you feel like you want this to be a little bit more liquidy, you could always add a little bit of milk or sour cream or extra cream of mushroom soup. You could even add fresh mushrooms into this and kind of saute them with the green beans at the same time. And that would be more mushrooms if you like mushrooms. So I'm just going to sprinkle on my onion topping here. You don't really need a fancy pattern. You could even cover the whole thing, but I just kind of like to go around the edges. That looks really good. So I'm going to put this in the oven. We just need to warm everything through until it's bubbly and hot. My green bean casserole went for about 20 minutes in the oven. If you're making this with something else, it doesn't really matter what the oven temperature is. You could just stick it in the oven with whatever else you're cooking. But if you're just doing this by itself, 350 would be good. And normally you wouldn't just eat this by itself. So I'm just gonna try a little bit here. A spoon is what you want to use. It's really hot. Make sure to get some crispy onions in there. It's really good. Perfect side dish for your holiday meal. As I mentioned, if you're gonna make this ahead of time, you could do this up to 2 to 3 days ahead of time and just cook everything, assemble everything except for the onions. Even in this dish, wrap it up, put it in the fridge, and then it's ready to go on the day of. And then again, all you would do is just put your onions on top and then bake in the oven. This also freezes really well too. If you wanted to take a little bit of it and put it in the freezer, that works really good. But it's a great side dish to any holiday meal that you have coming up, or even just a regular Sunday dinner. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.